Hello, can you hear me? Yes. So literally 5 minutes ago I managed to sneeze and bite my tongue, so that's a great start to this talk. So if I start pouring blood out of my mouth, it's not part of the act, call an ambulance. I'm also kind of a southpaw presenter, so I wanted to be over here, but these monitors are off, so if I'm walking around the stage a lot, that's why. Blame Sigrun. So yeah, this is my second Fanfest. They asked me back after last year. So I'm still quite a noob to the Fanfest party, but I think it's never too soon to start a tradition. And those last year know that I came on and I talked about my shoes, and people are wondering where I was going with that. Well, I was going here. It was all part of a plan. I was leading up to this presentation because last year my shoes were kind of new, and I was a bit embarrassed they were new, and they weren't that cool. And now they've had a year. They're worn in. They're better. They're more comfortable. So they've improved over the years, and that's the theme of this talk. It's progress. So I had already planned this talk last year. I've got much more of these foot-based game development analogies, though I'm going to write a book about it. Progress, yeah, so what do I mean by progress? Well, I mean a couple of things. Progress, obviously, what we've been doing for the last year and how the game has improved, which it has a lot. But also progress in how the player progresses through the game. And I'll talk a little bit about how you develop through the game and what you unlock and what you'll experience. So progress is great, but to Hilmar's point, progress without a focus, without a goal, is just wandering. So, I've clicked too. Has it gone through? Okay, sorry. So, one other thing, sorry, the blood in my mouth is distracting me. There are a number of exclusives this year. I revealed quite a few things last year. There are at least as many this year. Pretty much everything you'll see this year is exclusive for Fanfest, a world exclusive, so there's a lot of cool stuff to see in this presentation. But we need a goal. What's our ambition? What are we progressing towards? Well, we want to be the best competitive multiplayer in VR, and that's it. So if anything isn't contributing towards that, then we're not doing it. It's a great razor to cut through feature lists and decide what we're going to focus on. So that's where we're going, and where do we want to start? Well, we start at the beginning. Call me a rebel, but there you go. I like to shake things up. Now, Valkyrie, kind of the story, the fiction, the fantasy you're selling with Valkyrie all kind of begins and ends with Raun Kavak. Talked a bit about her last year. She's a Galente pilot who was killed in action and then wakes up in a secret Garista cloning facility, and she fights with the Garistas for a while, and then she discovers what they're really up to, and she breaks away to form the Valkyrie. Now this story, which I've just told you, but there's more to it, is going to be told in a series of Dark Horse comics that are coming out later this year. However, the more observant amongst you will realize that if we're going to be doing comics, and this is such a pivotal character for us, we probably need to give her a face. We probably need to, you can't have her walking around with like Judge Dredd the whole time. Not that there's anything wrong with Judge Dredd, but, Sylvester Stallone, that's all I'm saying. So, yeah, we wanted to give Raun a face, and when I was briefing this in, the word I kept coming back to, the word that kind of embodied the Valkyrie for me, was the word wraith. The definition of wraith very much describes what the Valkyrie go through. And also, it's kind of got this menace about it. I wanted Raun to look, ethereal, but project sort of menace and power. So almost like an Angel of Death character. So, one of the first exclusives you guys are going to see today is what round actually looks like. So I'm personally very proud of this. I think she looks great. I think she's not, stereotypical gaming character. All these images will be, available on the website after the talk, I hope. Probably should have checked that before I said that, but now they will be. So yeah, that's Round. Where does that fit into, our aspiration to be the best competitive multiplayer game in VR? Well, Round's story is the player story as well. It's the new player experience for the game. So you are with Round at each of these key moments in her life, and death, and life again, and death. She dies a lot. And each of these will form part of our new player experience, which you will play offline, and will sort of ease you into the game and the mechanics. I'm not going to talk about them all today, because, got to save some stuff. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the first one, which is when Round is still in the Galenti Navy. Her name is Round Kavak, so she'll introduce herself as Lieutenant Kavak. So you play a cadet in the Galenti Navy, and part of what's cool about Valkyrie is Eve. So, I wanted to give the player, a gentle introduction to the game, but also to give them a glimpse at the scope and the spectacle of Eve. So this mission will actually take place in a huge Eve, a Galenti convoy. This is actually a screenshot from the game. So I could spend a lot of time trying to describe this mission, but, less talk, more action. So we're going to show it to you. Again, an exclusive. Now, it's really hard to convey, the presence and the experience of VR, on a 2D screen, but we're going to do our best. So what we've done is we've actually captured footage directly from the game, and so you'll see the head track movements. And less talk, more action. You know what? I'm probably just going to show the video, but just in the game, this will be a much longer mission because it's probably one of the first missions you do. You'll be given a lot of instructions to follow. We've kind of cut this down so it's an abridged version, but it is all real gameplay. It is Yui, CCP bot flying it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that experience later. But let's just roll the video, please.
Begin systems check. Navigation systems online. Weapons online. Engines online. Magnetic catapult initialized.
Hold on tight, we're ready to deploy.
Launching in 3, 2, 1.
Missions are pretty routine, so let's use the time wisely and brush up on your flight skills. Activate boosters and group at the waypoint.
Esme 3 Tower, this is Convoy Hawk 6 Heavy. Do you copy? Esme 3 Tower, this is Convoy Hawk 6 Heavy. Do you read?
Where are you going, pilot?
No response from Esme 3 Tower. Hold bearing and continue approach pattern.
I don't like this. Something's up. Stay close. Cabot to all fire fighters. Align on Vector 3-9er. You've got multiple hostiles inbound. Form up on me and prepare to defend the carriers. If we lose them, we're stuck out here. Check your six. See you in the next life.
So, do you want to roll it again?
Welcome, pilot. Begin systems check. Navigation systems online. Weapons online. Engines online. Magnetic catapult initialized.
Hold on tight. We're ready to deploy.
Launching in 3, 2, 1.
Listen up. This is Lieutenant Kavik. Escort missions are pretty routine, so let's use the time wisely and brush up on your flight skills. Activate boosters and group at the waypoint.
Esme 3 Tower, this is Convoy Hawk 6 Heavy. Do you copy? Esme 3 Tower, this is Convoy Hawk 6 Heavy. Do you read?
Where are you going, pilot?
No response from Esme 3 Tower. Hold bearing and continue approach pattern.
I don't like this. Something's up. Stay close. Kavik to all fighters. Align on Vector 3-9er.
So yeah, did I say gentle introduction? I lied. Was it just yeah? No, I wanted to give people the sense, fulfill that fantasy of being a small fighter in one of these epic Eve battles, and I think we did it. Now, there's a couple of deliberate mistakes you may have spotted. Not she's in a wraith rather than a cyclops, and we know, and there is a good reason for that. I can tell you what it is, but there is a good reason for that. I'm going to leave that glaring error up there. Again, I just wanted to shout out to Yoey, CCPJ bot, I think. This is actual gameplay footage, and that's what made it kind of fun to capture, because every take was different. Once those AI, those are real AI. Once they kick off, they just do their own thing. And I kept saying to Yoey, okay, that was great. Can you do that again? No. Maybe. So yeah, a lot of work went into this, and hopefully you can see it up on screen. So, okay, we're back in the room. Where does this leave us in terms of the multiplayer game? How does this link into it? Well, we have a progression in the maps as well. Each of these maps you play in the new player experience becomes a multiplayer map, but that you revisit later as a Valkyrie. So the convoy map, the ambush map, becomes a necropolis graveyard. So this is the map you'll play today, 100 yards that way, or meters. So you'll recognize, a lot of the stuff you've seen in the video in terms of the ships that are destroyed and the station in the background and the backdrop. And so you go back to this map in multiplayer, and I like the fact it gives the map some history and depth. This is where you died, and you're probably going to die here a lot more when you play the game. So again, this is a new map, first time it's being shown, and you can play it today. But what are you going to play on it? Well, you're going to play a new game mode. We've kind of improved our game mode since last year as well. We found we were getting a little bit away from the core of our game, which is the dog fighting. So the scenario is that two rival pirate factions have turned up at this graveyard and looking for salvage, and in a kind of very piratey way, it comes down to who wants it more. They've both got a threshold where it's not worth it anymore. They're taking too much damage, it's costing them too much collateral, and one of the ships will leave. So you win by inflicting more damage on the enemy than you are taking yourself, and that's on the enemy fighters. So you purely win by dogfighting. There is another layer of strategy in here, or tactics in here, which is that there are a number of control points along the map which you can capture, and these will, if you hold these control points, it'll give you a multiplier to the damage and the points that you're accumulating, so each kill counts more towards the win. Now, how do you capture these? Well, we went through quite a few capture mechanics, believe me, because it's not the same as an FPS where you can just sort of sit and camp, because that's kind of the exact opposite of what we want people to do. Believe me, we tried. We know it's not a good idea. So what we've got is this concept of these capture drones. So when you get within a range of a capture point, you press I think it's up on the D-pad. Could be wrong. Check before you go in. And it deploys a drone. You got one drone per ship, and you can have one drone active at any one time. You can choose to sort of like self-destruct your drone and put it somewhere else. So the drone will start capturing. If you've got multiple drones on your side, it'll capture faster. If the enemy's got drones there, it'll balance out, and if there's equal, it'll be a stalemate. So there's another level of tactics there. You can, if you don't want to get into dogfighting, you can go along and be sort of a drone hunter, for want of a better word. So that's the game mode. Again, you get to play that at Fanfest. Please give us your feedback, because that's why we're here. Valkyrie was kind of born here, so it's good to keep getting the feedback from you guys, and that's very important to us. Back to progression and talk a little bit about the ships this time. We only had one ship, the Wraith, the fighter, last year. This is still your starting ship. I mean, it's our kind of iconic ship. It's a highly versatile fighter, very maneuverable, and it's been amended a little bit since last year. You know, we've still got the classic dogfighting primary weapon of the front-firing cannons. What this has forced us to do, though, is to look at the flight model. You'll find a new flight model when you play as well. It's a little bit more spacey, drifty. We found before people were just, with the same turning circle, were just circling each other, and that wasn't fun. Now you can break out of that much more easily, and there's much more skill involved. It's still easy to fly, but there's much more depth to learn in flying. And, you know, dogfighting is all, the cannons are all down to the dogfighting. You know, the only way you can really get away from them is by being a better flyer, and the only way you can really score hits with them is by being a better flyer. My tongue's still going. The secondary weapon is the signature weapon. Since EVR, we've had these missile-locked, head-tracked missiles. And they're actually pretty similar to what we had last year. They're, you know, because they work pretty well. You can fire them off individually and lock them individually. The counter to those is we've still got an ECM system, which is a couple of little, you probably saw it in the video, a couple of little Gatlings that come up and will shoot down any missiles in your area. But they're on a cooldown, so you have to be careful and choose when to fire them, because then you're vulnerable to missiles while it's recharging. So that's restart, and then you can go in a number of different directions. I've just chosen one for the purpose of this presentation, which is, you know, taking upgrades and loadouts towards the heavy class of ship, which is the new class which you can play at Fanfest. So the Spectre heavy class, Spectre, Wraith, we're all keeping this kind of, you know, ghost in the naming for as long as we can until it starts to break, that analogy. This is a very different type of ship. You can't fly it like you can fly it like a fighter, but you don't get very far. Much heavier armor, less maneuverable, but it's much more powerful. It can last much longer in battle. It's got, instead of the head-tracked missiles, it's got head-tracked flak cannons, which do splash damage, and they've got pretty much the same degree of vision as the missiles. Really fun to use. It is less nippy and agile, but it has got a micro-warp drive, so you can sort of zip across the map if you need to get to a new place in the map, or get into the action. Again, this is on a cooldown, so you need to choose when to use it. And then it's got its anti-missile protection is electromagnetic shield. It kind of charges up like Hilmar's Tesla. No, it's a shield around the ship that will knock out any missiles that impact it when they're coming in for a period of time. Again, it's a thing you have to activate and choose to time. It has got a secondary purpose, which is while this is active, the flak rounds that pass through it will pick up the charge and become EMP rounds with splash damage. And these are really good for knocking out pesky fighters, and so they'll be hit by these things and drift in space, and then you can take them out with the main flak cannon. So again, new ship, please play it, please give us your feedback. And then development progress, you've kind of, it was up on the screen. If you didn't see the progress, then we're in trouble. But in terms of the overall development, where are we? Well, we're kind of at a stage now where, you know, the core again is starting to feel good. We're still building out the content, but we're entering a playtesting phase. We've done a number of playtests within CCP, and we've started to extend these outside of CCP to some of our partners like Epic and NVIDIA and Oculus, and we'll keep rolling this out over time. And this is both to get, you know, feedback on our game, but also just, you know, test our systems and make sure we flush those all through before we go live. We are also starting an exclusive pre-alpha program. Now this is going to be invite only, very low numbers initially, and we'll gradually roll it out over time. You can sign up for this if you're interested. You can go into this URL and sign up with your CCP with your Eve or Dust login. It is, at the moment, it is, you need to have a headset, really, because, it's a VR game. And also, you probably need a pretty, decent PC. So think about that when you're signing up. You can always come back later if you get a headset and and change your status. But please register your interest anyway, because it'd be good to have a database of people who want to, help us test the game. Does anybody have DK2s in the audience? Oh, actually, quite a few. Well, that's cool. Well done. Around probably Saturday night, another 5 of you will have DK2s, because the tournament that we're running, the winning team, 5 people will get not only DK2s, but they will get guaranteed access into the testing program. So, how do you get into the tournament? Well, you go and play the game, and then you get a ticket, which I think I have one here. That's my hotel card. You don't get that. Well, depends what you look like. Yeah, you get a ticket, you put your name and email on it, and you put it into a box, a specific box, not just any box. And I think on Saturday, I keep being told this and I keep forgetting, I think Saturday at 12:30 in the Valkyrie room, we'll do a draw and we'll pull out 40 people, and they'll be in the tournament. So if you want to take part, please go along. Going back to our going full circle right back to our ambition of being the best multiplayer game in VR. This is going to be, we're pretty sure, the first sort of live streamed VR tournament ever. We're going to be streaming this on Twitch, certainly the semi-finals and the finals. We've got, it's going to be commentated by experts. Experts at talking. Yeah, it should be really cool. So even if you're not taking part in it, please come along and watch it. It should be really exciting to watch. So, I mean, I'm the one standing up on stage here, and it's great to get all the applause and feedback. But there's a whole team back in Newcastle, and quite a few of them are here for Fanfest, actually more than ever before. And we've got lots of round tables, so please, come and talk to us, ask us questions. This is most of them. Spot the art director with the moody black and white shot. Yeah, so these are the times. Oh, look, it says there when the draw is. Hold on. Should have read my slides. Yeah, so we've got one this afternoon, Meet the Valkyrie, where everybody there, and maybe some more people, will just be on stage and introduce everybody. And so please feel free to come and talk to us when we're here. I mean, that's why we're here. Ask us any questions you want, and just hang out with us. I'd also like to do a shout out to all the team that are still back in Newcastle, probably in the pub. But it's great that a lot of the team can get to come here, and it's a shame that the whole team can't be here. But there's a lot of really talented people here, and a lot of really talented people back in Newcastle who made what you saw possible and what you're going to play possible. So that's kind of it. We've this is a first ever VR tournament, a new flight model, new ship, new game mode, lots of new stuff, and hopefully you'll have a great Fanfest, and please play as much Valkyrie as you can. Thank you very much.